This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 8 a.m., hour number 2 underway. We'll come back to our college football quarterback conversation here in just a moment. There may be a couple of Notre Dame quarterbacks Bryan Driskell would throw ahead of Tim Tebow. We'll have the conversation about this year's quarterback competition, the health of the offensive line, and more for the Irish in just a moment. But don't forget, you can listen online, jocksfm.com. Apps in your app store, iPhone, Android. Go download that for free. That'll give you the podcast. You can listen live. It'll direct you to YouTube. Search Jocks945 on YouTube. You can watch us live each and every day, or just tell your home speaker to enable the Jock skill and listen there at your house.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. They're amazing. You go take the short drive up to Coleman, you'll see what I'm talking about. The second you walk in the door, the savings are ridiculous. Like a 2025 GMC Sierra SLT, $14,000 off the sticker. A Buick Encore GX, sporty economical SUV, $5,000 off the sticker. You can get it for under $25,000. That's an amazing deal for a nice, solid SUV. Telling you, take the short drive to Coleman. The experience that you'll have with their sales staff is off the charts. Andy Cole and Jonathan Yeager have created a great culture. That's why they've won 5 consecutive national championships. That's why they've won 8 overall. It's a dynasty, and it's right up the road from us, up I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
By the way, I wrote down like 4 more really good back and forths on this topic, so we're going to come back to it. Tebow or who you would take. Bryan Driskell covers Notre Dame, joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Bryan, the all-time AP team came out, which I'll just say, and I think you'll agree with me, Quentin Nelson not being one of the guards is egregious. That would be the one offensive line position that I would have a problem with, because I think he did things in games that maybe no other human has done at that position. Should Tim Tebow be the first team AP quarterback all-time in college football, or is there another quarterback you think you might have ahead of him?
I think Tim Tebow was great. I have a hard time going with all time. I mean, I guess kind of part of it is when do we start all time? You know, so it was a very modern flavor to the all time list. But I mean, I know it's just one season, but you know, Vince Young was pretty special that one season. Has the same number of national titles. You have Matt Leinart. What he did at USC was pretty special. I think Tim Tebow was a great winner and a great warrior, but I kind of go through Baker Mayfield even recently was pretty amazing for 3 seasons at Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and if you want to go like old school, the problem is the numbers are so different in the modern era. The last 25 years, the numbers are so much different. It's like the NFL. You go back and you're like, well, how was Joe Namath that good? He threw more picks, he threw interceptions. Like, well, that was the era. That's kind of how the game was back then.
You could tackle receivers before they even catch the ball. It was a different era.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, quarterback discussion competition, always something that we're excited about here on Mac and Cube. Now, tell us what's going on. Based on everything I'm hearing, it sounds like Kenny Minchey might actually have the inside track over C.J. Carr, much to the chagrin of a lot of Notre Dame fans. I happen to think it's great, but because his mobility might make them very difficult to defend, and it tells me maybe he's made the strides necessary as a passer to improve in that area as well. So help me understand what's going on with the quarterback spot right now.
You know, obviously it depends on who you talk to. I do think it's a close battle. I would argue that Kenny Minchey right now does have the edge, although there's still some very important moments coming up these next couple of days. They've got a big scrimmage on Sunday. I think really what it boils down to, Greg, from who I've been talking to, it's C.J. Carr makes more of the splashy plays. He makes more of like the big impressive plays, the big arm throws, but he also has a bit of that gunslinger mentality. So those things also lead to more, you know, turnovers and mistakes, where what Kenny has done this fall camp is he's just been more steady. He doesn't make as many of the big plays, but he doesn't make the big turnovers. And Marcus Freeman's a guy, as a former linebacker and defensive coordinator, that he's going to put a lot of value in not turning the ball over. And I think Kenny's improved enough where he's become a more consistent player, that there's more of a faith that he can go out there. And then if things break down, he's got the mobility to go out there and make plays with his legs. He's not Riley Leonard, though. And that's something that some fans, Notre Dame fans, need to understand is, yes, he's a good athlete and he can run. He's not Riley Leonard. He's not that kind of player. He's more of an Ian Book type of player. You know, the occasional design run, but more of a scrambler, move the chains when things break down type of player. But, I think that Kenny's going to have to learn to be willing to take more chances, and CJ's going to have to learn when not to take some chances. I think that's going to be the key for these two players. But I'm more and more confident, Greg, that we're going to see both of those guys at some point in time this season.
Is it because of where the team is also right now, Brian, and Bryan Driskell joining us to discuss Notre Dame and what's happening through fall camp so far of obviously some injuries to the O-line, but still going to be a strength of the team, tight end strength of the team. Jeremiah Love, one of the best running backs in college football, receiver been upgraded again. You may not need super playmaker at quarterback right now for this football team.
Well, I think that's absolutely part of it. You don't need an elevator necessarily for the regular season. I still think that's needed when you get to the postseason, but maybe Kenny becomes that. Maybe CJ eventually wins the job and limits some of the mistakes, and he brings that. But when you look at the talent around them, you look at the defense they have, that's the one takeaway from fall camp. The biggest takeaway I've had, Cole, is this defense might even be better than it was last year talent-wise. Now, we'll see if Chris Ash can do as good of a job as Al Golden, but talent-wise, it's going to be an outstanding defense. And do you really want to be putting them in a lot of situations where they've got short fields to defend? My counter argument is you have a defense that can overcome some mistakes by a younger quarterback that can also go make plays. So at the end of the day, it's really a win-win situation from a talent standpoint with the two quarterbacks. You just got to figure out who gives us the best chance to win in week one, but also gives us the best chance to win in the quarterfinals, semifinals, and title game. That may be the same guy. It may not be, and that's the difficulty in front of Marcus Freeman when you do have two talented players.
How would you assess just kind of the development of the other pieces on the offense? We know tight end's a problem because of injury. We hope Eli Raridan can be who he was always destined to become, but injuries are of concern with him and with Bauman just shutting it down because he tore his ACL. It seems like it's become a bit of a problem position, but I am optimistic about what they have at wide receiver. How have you evaluated kind of their weapons and their development this year?
Well, tight end will be fine as long as Eli Raridan is healthy. If he gets injured again, then it's a major problem. And I think what you're going to see, Greg, is you're going to see fewer of the 12 personnel stuff that Notre Dame has relied so much on. And that was always going to be part of the plan just because of how deep they are. We saw the emergence of Jaden Greathouse last year, and you saw Jordan Faison perform well against Georgia and Indiana, and then you bring in Fields and Pauling. We've also seen some young guys really step up. Micah Gilbert, who's a redshirt freshman from North Carolina, has had a really strong fall camp. Elijah Burris, the son of Plexico Burris, has had a really strong fall camp. There's a lot more confidence in the depth and the playmaking ability at that position to where Notre Dame does feel they're going to be more balanced this year. And they know they need to be more balanced this year. And Sullivan Absher is supposed to step in for Charles Jagasaw. He gets banged up a little bit. And as you'd expect, Cole, from Notre Dame football, one talented offensive lineman goes down, you just open up another opportunity for a five-star guy, Gerby Lampert, to step in. And he's had a really strong last week and a half. They slid him inside from right tackle to compete at that right guard spot, and he's looked really good. I think the key for me is the line being able to be more consistent in pass pro is going to be a big key to this whole thing getting better. That's the run game last year was pretty solid for Notre Dame. Pass pro is a little bit of a different issue, and Riley Leonard bailed you out of a lot of – you guys saw it. Greg, you saw it in the Orange Bowl, how many times Riley Leonard was able to use his legs to avoid pressure. You're not going to have quite that same athlete this year, so that part still is a bit of a work in progress. But is that because they haven't improved as much, or is that because Boubacar Traore's healthy, Bryce Young stepping up, Junior Tuilamaka? That's really the thing you're going to find out when we get to Miami on August 31st.
I actually wanted to get your thoughts on Bryce Young because Greg and I have mentioned him a lot this offseason. Just think he has a chance to explode onto the scene this year. What has been the word? What have been the thoughts of how he's performed so far in fall camp?
Still young, flashy. There's days where Bryce looks like a future All-American and days where Bryce looks like a sophomore that's still trying to learn how to consistently win. And he's going to play for them. He's going to play a lot. He's going to be an impactful player. The defensive end to keep an eye on is Boubacar Traore. And if you go back and look at his PFF numbers through the first four games, if he could have kept that rate the entire season, he's got Abdul Carter type of numbers. That's how disruptive he was early. He played one snap against USC in 2023, and he sacked Caleb Williams on that one snap when he stepped in to fill in. He's just a twitchy guy. He's got sort of that unique ability to bend and win on the edge. He's the guy whose emergence this fall camp has really been impressive, and it's taken some of that pressure off of Bryce to be that guy. But, he's learning. He's going to be a factor for Notre Dame this year. But early on, Cole, it's really going to be about just throwing waves at people. I think the D lineman to keep an eye on, who I'm hearing a lot of buzz about out of fall camp, is actually an inside guy. It's Jason Onye, who's having a really monster fall camp.
Man, they get a guy or two stepping up inside, that D-line might be a problem again.
That's great news, for sure.
Yeah.
And week one will be a great challenge. Looking at Miami, I think they actually match up pretty well against Notre Dame, assuming their young wide receivers can kind of come into their own. They're going to find out week one. But looking at that matchup, and look, we saw Notre Dame lose week 2 last year and it not really have an impact of what they inevitably became. But how important is that week 1 game on Sunday night to knock off Miami and to kind of pick up where you left off last year?
As a Notre Dame fan who's was born in 1978, which means I've never seen Notre Dame win in Miami, that's a pretty big deal. I think it's one of those. But in seriousness, it's like, Marcus Freeman's got to slay some dragons, right? Haven't won a New Year's Six Bowl since 1994. Okay, check. Haven't won a national title, not checked. Beating Miami in Miami, something that we had, that Lou Holtz didn't do in multiple opportunities. That's got to get checked. And I think those are the things that Notre Dame's still got to prove. Can you go on the road to a place you haven't had success with and win those type of games? Can you start the season off a little bit more impressively at home against Texas A&M, something they've lost 2 of their 3 home openers so far. So I think those are the things about Notre Dame that we're still having to learn, guys, is last year was phenomenal, but can they string back-to-back great seasons, something they haven't done in the last 30 years. So they've had some great individual seasons, but they just don't string them together. And I think that's what that Miami game is really about for me. It's not so much about, it means you're going to be a playoff team or not. If you can lose in Northern Illinois at home and not only get to the playoff but host, losing to Miami's not going to crush your playoffs hopes, other than, you can't win too many more of these. I think it's more about just showing what kind of program this is going to be moving forward. Is it going to be like it's been in the past, where one great year is followed by an okay year? Or does Marcus Freeman say, no, this is just kind of who we are now?
Brian, I wanted to get your thoughts just on Chris Ash's now being the defensive coordinator. I thought Al just did an awesome job last year. I don't know if we are expecting any drop-off, things to look very different, but I do think he deserves that credit, and he's not being back. And it's just something I haven't heard being talked about much around this football team this upcoming season. What are your anticipations just for that part of the Notre Dame defense?
Well, that's the big unknown for me, Cole, because we haven't really seen them do a lot in fall camp. We see the first 4 practices. I think one thing that brings me sort of a level of confidence that he's going to make a smooth transition is because he's focused so much on not changing what they were doing. He's going to make some adjustments. He's going to do some things that fit their personnel, but he didn't come in like some coaches doing, like, okay, I know it was good, but we're going to do my thing now. He said, hey, look, there's a strong foundation to build upon, and we're going to stick to some of those principles. We're going to continue to allow Leonard Moore to do things that he does well, but there's some areas where we're going to get better, and we had a very young defense for the most part last year, so we're going to focus on those things. So a lot more focusing on fundamentals and being in the right position and things along those lines, which is something that you talk to former Ohio State players about. They'll say, hey, look, he was very much about know your job and do your job as fast and as hard as you can, and that's something he's focused on in Notre Dame, because he's more about, hey, let's let the talent take over and not so much let me go show everyone how smart I am, and I think that's worked pretty well so far. The big question is going to be, how does he handle things in game? I think what I've seen so far in practice has been great, but what is he going to be like making in-game adjustments and doing things at halftime to try to overcome maybe slow starts, or will he be as aggressive blitzing as Al Golden was? Those are the things I don't know, but so far I've heard a lot of good things about how the players have reacted with him and just how they're performing, and that's the thing I've heard all fall camp is defense has been really, really good.
Well, we appreciate the time today, Brian. A lot of awesome updates there around Notre Dame, this program, what's been happening through fall camp. Hopefully we can catch up with you again soon.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Bryan Driskell, he covers Notre Dame for Irish Illustrated, does a great job with it. And that quarterback battle, Greg, is one that's a little surprising to some folks. When we came out of spring, people felt like, C.J. Carr, he's the guy. That's why Angeli transfers. He goes to Syracuse, and people felt like it was a done deal. Now, may not be a done deal.
And a lot of people upset about it, too. Like, a lot of people mad because they felt like finally Notre Dame was going to have a game-changing quarterback because they have a 5-star in C.J. Carr. Well, they might still just use the things that they've always used to be successful to win games this year. Like, that's what I think is kind of amazing. Like, they have never had a game-changing quarterback. And they've been to how many playoffs? They've been to how many games? They went to the national championship game last year? They didn't have a game-changing quarterback. They had a really solid college football quarterback. So I don't think there's anything wrong with having a game manager. If you're Notre Dame, you defend the way you defend, you run the ball the way you run the ball. So right. I'm a little curious why Notre Dame fans are so up in arms about the possibility of CJ Carr not being their guy. That kind of blows me away. I just thought for sure they'd be maybe a little bit better at quarterback than they were last year if CJ Carr were the guy, maybe have a slightly higher ceiling. But wouldn't you want to just rinse and repeat what you just did last season? At least I would.
You would think. That'd be one of the easier ways to do it. Okay, we're going to continue talking Notre Dame and having our quarterback conversation. I told you I had a couple other names I wanted to throw at the guys since the all-time AP team has come out. We've been debating who the quarterback would be for your sort of dream team or dream roster, or to just go win one game, who that guy would be for you. We'll finish that discussion when we come back. First, you're going to have to wait for that topic. One thing you never have to wait for, Greg, is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of. The urgent care officer can be seen the same day. Several locations to make it easy on you in Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. They can get you in. Patients of all ages are accepted. Most insurance plans are accepted. And they can see you on Fridays and Saturdays, which is great, especially here during the school year. So call them today at 874-9605. That's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
I got a couple more that I want to throw out there. Would it be Tebow or this guy? Some I think are going to be pretty interesting discussions. That's next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. A lot of these quarterbacks we're discussing, one of the reasons people are going to put them in the conversation, they were able to go get a ring, able to bring home that bling. If you need to bring it home yourself, Greg, where should people go?
Well, go check out Bromberg's. They are just an amazing, amazing place to go and purchase special items that might be in your family for multiple generations. Go and check it out. It's off the charts good. When you watch and look at the selection that they have and the service that they have, that they offer you with their staff, they're so knowledgeable. They have such a great selection, and the experience continues to get better. They are currently renovating the Mountain Brook store, which means it's going to be even better, which to me, it's already an elevated experience. I can't imagine what it's going to be like as they continue on with this renovation. So go and check it out. Mountain Brook Village store. Bromberg's is the very best. Absolute best. Diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, you name it, they have it. Custom jewelry, they have it. Bracelets, rings, watches, you name it, they got it. Absolutely highly recommend Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
One game you get this quarterback for. One game to go in and potentially win you a game or lose you a game. You guys are going to laugh at this one.
Maybe not.
Tim Tebow or Stetson Bennett?
Tebow.
It's interesting. It's
Not
an
for
interesting
me.
thought. Okay, Greg is going Tebow. I think it's closer than a lot of people would want to believe.
One game.
One game. John, is it easy for you, Tebow?
Yeah.
Okay. I would end up going Tebow, yeah, but
It's close.
I mean, having maybe the greatest defense in college football history
It
helps a little bit, but yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
Carson Palmer, Tim Tebow.
Gosh, Carson Palmer was so good.
Get a chance to see him.
He was so good.
I was young.
I mean, he just killed people. That Iowa Orange Bowl game, oh,
Super accurate, big arm.
so accurate, huge arm. Was just a monster. I mean, just big, strong, physical, 6'5", 240, just throwing heat.
He's that big?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Monster.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah, and athletic, too. Like, mobile and nimble. Like, you more athletic than you realize.
Yeah.
Palmer was a dude.
Not sneaky, like it's
Not
obvious.
sneaky,
Yeah.
No,
it's
he
out
was
there,
big
yes.
time.
All right.
I'm going Palmer.
Yeah, me too.
He was unbelievable.
I might take Tebow on that one.
Palmer was good.
This is one that I think a lot of people will actually say is easy going away from Tim Tebow. Jameis Winston.
Jameis was a lot better than people probably remember.
Yes.
He was unbelievable. That 2013 year, he was off the charts.
You mean because he went over 3,900 yards and 25 touchdown passes both years in college and had 26-1 record? It's pretty good.
It helps.
You think?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It
It's
helps.
pretty good.
Can I choose the year of Jameis?
Yes, that's a big part of it. Yes.
2013, like without doubt. 2014, I don't know.
2014 though, dude, their team was terrible. Like he was the
But
only guy.
He made some mistakes that were.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Rose Bowl.
But like John said, the 2013 team, yeah, it's probably
good.
him.
yeah, he was legit.
Okay, an interesting one that I'll throw out at you guys: Tim Tebow or Caleb Williams.
Oof. I mean, I'll go-
120 touchdowns and 33 starts.
yeah, I mean, he was ridiculous, no doubt. But
Against who?
Easy not to like.
also,
It's just
very,
funny how a lot
very
of these are going to
hateable.
be easy.
Right, but the dudes.
Don't like him.
He was
So,
cooking.
and that's why it's hard. That's why this one is hard.
I think some people think that you're a bad person if you say that you pick somebody
It's
other
fair.
than
Right.
Tebow. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person for thinking a guy might be more talented than Tim. Doesn't make you you can
Right.
still acknowledge the good person that Tim is, the good player that Tim was,
I go Caleb Williams.
and not have him as the number one quarterback in the history of college football.
Okay, Caleb Williams or Tim Tebow.
Caleb Williams.
John,
Yeah, I think I'm going with
I
it.
think I would too. I mean, the demeanor, the attitude is the only thing you would change.
I would love to
if you
change
could
that.
swap those, then
Right.
you've built the perfect quarterback. Kellen Moore or Tim Tebow.
I thought you might say somebody else.
I'll go Kellen Mond.
I know. Not even in the same breath.
Kellen Moore in 4 years on 1,658 attempts completed 70% of his passes.
That's insane.
14,667 yards. He threw for over 3,400 yards 4 consecutive years. He threw for 25 or more touchdown passes 4 consecutive years. His last year at Boise, he was 74%, 3,800 yards, 43 touchdowns, 9 picks.
Yeah.
His sophomore year, he was 35-36 at 64% for 39 touchdowns and 3 picks.
It's efficient.
35 touchdowns to 6 picks his junior year at 72%. He threw 142 touchdowns and 28 interceptions in his career. It's a different style altogether, obviously. There's no battering ram effect. It's probably going to have to be some intermediate quick game stuff, more so than down the field, but it's a really fair question in my opinion.
Love it. I think as far as efficiency is concerned, you'd be hard pressed to find a more efficient quarterback than Kellen Moore in the last 20 years. Just efficiency,
Right.
which is not sexy, but you know how to move the chains, get the ball out, don't take sacks, be super accurate, have a plan. He was remarkably underrated. Not physically gifted,
Nope.
but ridiculous as far as efficiency is concerned.
Tebow or Kellen Moore?
I'm going Tebow.
I would still like to have some of the mobility aspect of it. I think Kellen Moore, if he had to play week in and week out in the SEC, I don't know if it would have been the same.
That's why I would take Tebow.
Correct.
Because against who?
Not against. Against.
There was a listener that tweeted in Tebow or Bryce Young.
Bryce.
Now I want to. I just and we have said this specifically about Alabama players in the Nick Saban era for quite some time, and I think folks forget how much they forget this. Greatness in that era was forgotten faster than maybe any other in the history of college football.
In 2021 and 2022? Why is greatness forgotten? That was 4 years ago.
Bryce Young in 21, 67%, 4,872 yards, 47 touchdowns, 7 picks. He followed that up with 33-28, 32 touchdowns to 5 picks. He threw 80 touchdowns to 12 interceptions and completed 66% of his passes. Ran for another 7 touchdowns.
Yeah. Bryce Young.
Greg?
Bryce Young.
Yes.
John?
Yeah, it's Bryce.
Is it recency bias?
No.
I mean, I feel like it should be Bryce Young too.
No, I mean Bryce was pretty special, dude.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't hand it off much, but
No, I wouldn't either.
He's getting greedy with it. He's getting greedy with it.
all right. How about this one? You get one game. Tim Tebow or Tua Tagovailoa?
Tua.
There's only one reason that there's one gigantic strike against Tua that you can throw out there.
Injuries?
He might not make it through the game.
Yeah.
But
You know Tebow's making it through the game.
Yeah. I got Tua.
I would go Tua.
Deadly accurate.
Tua is a monster.
I may have to do like a Hugh Freeze, like first quarter Tua, but then like the rest of it, I may have to go Tebow. But
I think that's more Spurrier than Freeze when you're talking about actually when you play someone. But yeah, I see where you're going. I think I might go Tebow there just because of the fragile aspect. But you can't go wrong with Tua.
If our offensive line is great, we'll keep them upright.
You'll be good. If that's the case, you'll be fine.
But
we don't know that. We don't know if that's the case.
Got to have a good O-line.
By the way, I did want to just throw this out for you guys. Aaron Murray, 13,166 yards passing, 121 touchdowns, 16 rushing touchdowns in his career. Just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Just throwing out some factual information. And I will give you by far the easiest decision that we have had. I think easier than maybe, and this goes to what John went with a little bit earlier. If you are able to be selective with the actual singular year, I'll throw out maybe the easiest one that we've had, and I can't believe his name has not come up yet. Maybe easier. I mean, it's not going to be easier than Cam or Burrow for me. Probably not easier than Lamar. But the next easiest answer that you will have in this question that is not going to be Tim Tebow. All-time AP quarterback. You could have one to start a college game for you to win a national championship. Tim Tebow or Jaden Daniels?
Jaden Daniels.
God, he was good.
Oh,
it's not close.
Not even close.
It's literally not close.
God.
It's not close.
No natty.
Okay, fine. We all know which one we would take, and it's Jaden Daniels.
Ease.
So, I mean, it's hard to imagine maybe the Arizona State stuff, or like Greg has said, referencing Tebow a couple times, the career comes into mind there, but
sure,
that's not one. If you're talking about how they exited college football, that's even in the same galaxy, in my opinion. It's Jaden Daniels. Super accurate, dynamic runner, could run away from you, knew when to leave the pocket, how to leave the pocket. Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. It's Jaden Daniels. It's Jaden Daniels. So, I mean, we went through a litany of guys.
It goes back to the conversation. Like, is it what it is, or is it perception? Like, is it reality or perception? And by the way, there's nothing wrong with either side. It's just, I think there's a much more detailed discussion to be had there, especially when taking into account the guys that are also on the team. I mean, by far, some of the best that have ever played in the history of the sport. Yeah. Like, I'm not talking just in college. I'm talking all-time talents. Pretty ridiculous to see that list.
Yep. All right, so we'll get you a break. Matt Jones updates us on Kentucky football fall practice next, right here on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Going to go right to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio. And Matt, the all-time AP team came out and was curious. We were having a quarterback debate today. Tebow's the number one quarterback. Like he's the first team all-time AP quarterback. Would he be that for you? If you had one quarterback all-time in college football, would he be your guy?
Yeah, all-time. I mean, they're going like from the start of college football.
All-time AP team.
All-time.
He was number one. So ahead of
Yeah,
Cam, ahead of Burrow, ahead of Lamar, ahead of Jaden Daniels, ahead of all of them.
So I was going to say, I mean, for me, in terms of in person, nobody was more wow to watch than Lamar. As much as I hate to say that as a Louisville person.
No, you're right.
But when you're talking, and Michael Vick as well. But Tim Tebow probably has had the most success. So, I get it.
All right, what's going on with the quarterback situation there in Lexington? We haven't heard a lot coming out from this football team here in fall camp. How are things progressing based on what you know?
I've heard positive things. I mean, the UK fan base has never been this pessimistic going into a season since probably Joker Phillips was the coach. But all I've heard from camp is very positive. I think they believe they're going to be a lot better than people believe they will. I think they have – the big thing is I think they've upgraded their offensive line, which is the key, because last year the offensive line was just absolutely dreadful. And the team quit with about 3 or 4 games to go last year. I mean, just completely quit. It was the Louisville game was one of the more embarrassing games for Kentucky fans of all time. It included a player going to the concession stand in the middle of the game, which was, you know, sort of symbolic of the whole year. I don't think they're going to have that this year. I think they like the culture they've built, offensive line good. They love the 2 running back transfers. I think they feel pretty good about their wide receivers. For me, it's on the offensive side, I do worry about the quarterback play. I think they've, you know, you're starting to hear some, well, Cutter Boley's better than people think, which is not a really good sign for what they feel like with Zach Calzada. But I think overall, offensive line, defense, which were the bread and butter of Mark Stoops' years at Kentucky, I think both should be significantly better. The problem is the schedule. I mean, the schedule is just brutal. They play, 6 of the top 16 teams in the country. So they could be a lot better and still go 4-8. And that's kind of what my concern is, actually.
Well, so the quarterback competition, I think Calzada is actually pretty good. I know that he's taken a lot of heat over the course of his college career with what transpired at Auburn, but he can throw it.
I hope you're right.
So
I hope you're right, because then I think they're better.
So if the quarterback's good, are they actually maybe like kind of a dangerous team? For a team like Ole Miss, for example, week 2, having to go up there, that's no picnic.
Oh, no. Listen, if I were – okay, so their SEC home games this year are Ole Miss, Florida, Tennessee, and Texas. If Zach Calzada's good, they're winning one of those. I would not – if I was those teams' fan bases and Zach Calzada was good, I would look at that game as a dangerous game that you don't think is a dangerous game right now. This is a weird year for Kentucky's schedule, and I don't know why it's like this, but it has been for a long time. Their schedule balances to where they either play every year their hardest games at home or their hardest games on the road. And I've always made the case that when Kentucky's good, you'd love to have it where those hardest games are at home. But when they're bad, you almost want to flip it. So last year, their hardest games were all on the road. So this is a year that if Kentucky was good, I kind of like their schedule because you're getting your toughest games at home. Your road games are Auburn, Vandy, South Carolina. I mean, those are games Kentucky can compete in. Georgia's a little different. But yes, I think they'll win one of those home games. I'm picking Kentucky to win 5. I think they win their 3 games against weaker competitions. I think they win one of those home games I just mentioned, and then I think they probably win at Vandy. The way to get to a bowl is to then also win at Auburn, or they've actually had pretty good success against Louisville, even though I think that'll be tougher this year. So that's their path to success. The coaching staff believes they're going to do that. They just got to convince the fan base. And that game in week 2 against Ole Miss, I think it's huge for Ole Miss. I think it's pretty huge for Kentucky and kind of getting this fan base on board.
No, I think most people would agree with you on that one. What parts of the defense give you the most confidence? What parts of the defense give you the most concerns? Brad White obviously has been great. They have been so solid up front, and I don't know if they're going to be able to just replicate that again this year.
That's the flip, okay? So I think you go back and you look at the last 5 years, 6 years. They had a period about 5 years ago where they had an amazing secondary, but since then the secondary has been the weakness, the line's been the strength. I think it's flipped this year. I think the secondary is the strength. I think the line is a weakness. You lose Deion Walker, you lose Oxidine, you lose some guys that gave you big production even if they weren't consistent. So I think that's their worry. Do they have somebody on the defensive line? Do they have multiple guys who can – they haven't really gotten to the quarterback in 2 years, even with Deion Walker and those guys, really since Josh Allen. But I do think their secondary will be strong. They've got basically a lot of the same guys, DJ Waller, Ty Bryant, Alex Afari. I think they're going to be pretty good there. But the question will just be, can they get pressure on the quarterback? Can they consistently stop the run? So for me, the defensive line is the concern.
That's kind of crazy when you think about what they've kind of been built on. There's so many new pieces. Of all the new additions, who's the one transfer guy that is apparently having a really good camp?
Well, the dude, I mean, they would say to you, the people, again, on the offensive line, they brought in Ajad Pete, who's from New Mexico. He's going to be the left tackle. I mean, you all watched the games last year. The left tackle for Kentucky all year was just a disaster. And they feel really good about him. There's a guy, I can't remember the kid's name, but there's another kid from New Mexico State that's playing on the defensive line that I think they feel good about. They're running backs. Dowdell from Nebraska. I think they like him. But you got to remember, this team has 50 new players. And I know a lot of teams are like that, but for Kentucky, these transfers are huge because the culture – all right, if you had Mark Stoops on here, here's what he would say. Our transfers last year took our culture in the wrong direction. They basically went and got guys who played at the Georgia and Alabamas and were second string and brought them in and said, you'll get to play here. And it just did not work. The second that had worked in other years just did not work last year. So this year they went and they got guys from the MAC. They have 3 players who played on either New Mexico or New Mexico State. They went and got guys from secondary schools, which is, by the way, what they did in the early years of the transfer portal with Stoops. I think they think that's going to make the culture better. And if it makes the culture better, Stoops is such a culture guy. He always has been. He has always been this believer in, I can take talent that is, B level and turn it to A level. And he's kind of struggled over the years sometimes when he's had A level. A guy like Deion Walker was a top 20 recruit. And even though he was good, I don't think he ever quite hit his potential. I think Stoops feels like he has a roster full of guys this year that are the kind of players that he likes to coach the most.
Because it almost goes along a little bit with what I've been saying about this team, Matt. You mentioned culture. I've mentioned it feels like there's a part of some of the O-linemen, D-linemen you said he brought in, bringing in a guy like Kendrick Law, who's probably the best blocking receiver in the SEC. It feels like he wants to get back to a little bit of a backyard brawler team, like a team that's going to bloody your nose. Yeah. And can you manage that? Can you deal with that? Will you be okay playing that style game?
Yes, that's what they're doing. I mean, I think they will run significantly more. This fan base had gotten spoiled a little bit, and I'm probably part of being guilty of that. That we loved having Chris Rodriguez, Benny Snell, but there was a part of, okay, it's 2025. Can we please throw the ball some? And they really tried with Devin Leary, and then last year they really tried to throw, and it just brought Vandegrift. It just didn't work, and it's not Mark Stoops' style. I think they're going back to the running significantly. They've got 4 running get-backs that they believe can play. The new offensive line guys. We'll see. I mean, but it's still – I still think that's a hard way for Kentucky to win in the SEC. But, I'll give Stoops credit for this. Let's take last year. As much of a disaster as the Louisville game was, the South Carolina game was, they also beat Ole Miss on the road. They also played Texas pretty competitively for 3 quarters on the road. They had Georgia. They were 1 interception callback return from making that Georgia game. I mean, they were in the Georgia game till the very end. He made the decision to kick a field goal instead of go for it. Fans are still upset. So you could make an argument their 3 most impressive games of the year, Georgia, Texas, and Ole Miss, were the 3 teams they played that were the best of the year. So I think that's interesting with Kentucky going into this season and to see what they did.
Did you say earlier in the interview that a player went to the concession stand during a game?
Yeah, so during the Kentucky-Louisville game,
when you're hungry.
Gerald Mincy, who had started at the beginning of the year in offensive line, he was hurt for the Louisville game, but he was in his uniform. You can find this picture. It's the 3rd quarter of the Kentucky game. We're down like 25 points. He leaves the sideline in his uniform and goes up to the concession stand and buys food. And someone took a picture, and it's kind of been an off-season symbol to the fan base of what in the world was going on. We had guys at the concession stand.
The kids have money now; they can afford these things. Back in the day, we couldn't afford an $8 hot dog. Now they can do it.
You're talking about starting offensive linemen. Okay, I mean that is a starting offensive lineman that did that. So
he's not in pads. He just had the jersey on. I'll give him a
Is
little
that
credit
all
for it. It's still not okay. No.
It's kind of funny.
But I will say I may not have been to that exact concession stand during the game there at halftime. At halftime, because there's a little way you can sneak through the tunnel, and there's another door, and it comes out right by that concession stand. Nonetheless, I wasn't playing in a game or had the jersey on top of a hoodie during my team's game.
Are you positive you weren't playing?
It was halftime. After my halftime interview. I may or may not have.
Can you confirm that you weren't playing?
The soft pretzel was good. I will.
Okay,
can't confirm that. Was not.
Here
playing.
we are. You guys are all being haters, and Cole was visiting the exact same place.
Well, now I feel better, actually.
Maybe he just needed some salt. Maybe the salt tablets just wouldn't do it for him. He needs some quick carbohydrates and some salt on the pretzel.
Maybe they asked him to play right tackle again, and he's self-proclaimed left tackle only.
Don't you do it.
There you go. Matt, great stuff, man. Thanks for the time. We always appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys. Before we do this every year, so let me ask you a question. What do you all think Kentucky's record's going to be? I said 5-7. I trust you two as much as anybody I do in the SEC world. What do you all think?
I think they get to 6.
You do? Okay.
I'm with you on the style of this football team, kind of getting back to being one that a lot of people are going to have difficulty with. There's not a lot of teams being built that way right now in the SEC. That'll give them some advantages. I like the home field advantage. And I think Mark's got a little chip on his shoulder. I think he's got a point to prove to some people.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help this team.
Don't overlook Vince leaving, too, by the way. Vince leaving, the tight end coach, Vince Marrow, going to Louisville. That has, I think, put a huge spark in this staff, because there are a lot of people who are like, well, now that he's gone, you'll never get any players. You won't be good. I think they don't believe that, and I think that's put a huge chip on their shoulder.
It also doesn't affect anything on the field X's and O's wise. I love Vince. He's an awesome guy.
One of the best guys ever.
He had nothing to do with scheme. Zero. So what this team's going to be on the field, that is a zero net loss to Kentucky football this year.
And I'll be honest with you, Matty, I have no idea. I think Kentucky might be the biggest question mark in college football this year.
I will say they are mine. Not in college football, but in the SEC, yes.
To me, they're number one in college football. And I really believe that, because I do believe in their style. I do believe in the chip on the shoulder. I do think at times in the last few years, expectations have kind of gone haywire because they finally got a quarterback. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, yes, this is our year. And expectations for Kentucky are not good. Like, they're a team that's much better off flying out of the radar and turning every single game into a bare knuckle brawl. And a team that you hate to play against. They're a handful to play. You're going to feel it for a week. It's a double chin strap game. And they're going to be able to go toe to toe with teams just on physicality alone. Now, if we want to talk about turning into a track meet, not going to be good for them. Like, I think back to Georgia 2 years ago when they turned into a track meet. It was the worst thing ever.
But then Georgia last year, to your point,
they played them. They forced them right into the trap last year.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and it was and we called that game last year, so like I remember it vividly.
It's like that. It's like that noon kick that I had in, like, I think it was 18-19. The game took like an hour and 45 minutes, and I don't think Kentucky threw a pass in the first half. I think they had combined 3 pass attempts in the first half. And
remember that Georgia game down there where that was their juggernaut team.
Yeah.
Kentucky played them as good as anybody in the country that year. And it was on their field. And so that was like what you're talking about.
I mean, I try to think to other teams that are question marks. Like, I think Kentucky falls in that category for me. I think North Carolina with Belichick and all their new pieces falls in that category. There's probably 4 or 5 teams nationally in the Power Four. I have no idea. Colorado's one of those teams. I have no idea. But based on their track record, I don't hate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear you gave me some confidence. I go on the air in 10 minutes, and I'm going to give the Cubelic McElroy seal of approval to UK football this year.
Rock and fire, baby.
All right. See you guys.
Take care, Matt. Matt Jones joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Always great talking anything Kentucky, and fun having that conversation here with him today. If you want to have more college football conversations with us, it's easy to do at the Jocks Kickoff Party. John, tell our listeners how they can do it.
The easiest way to do that is to text the keyword final and your full name to 205-834-9450. That's 205-834-9450. Today's your last chance to register for your chance to win tickets to the Bill Smith Buick GMC Jocks kickoff party, which will be Thursday. Today's your last day. Make sure you text the keyword final and your name to 205-834-9450. Winners are notified and drawn daily. Check out jocksfm.com for more info.
All right, when we come back, a little bit more on the quarterback conversation and some other news around the SEC. That's all next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Continuing our quarterback conversation on all-time AP team. Bob has been very patient on hold. Bob, what's on your mind? Bob. Bobby.
Bob.
Bobby.
Bob.
We tried, Bob. Your CBD store does more than just try. They deliver. Largest brick-and-mortar CBD retailer in the world. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. Yes, they're open. Yes, their products are still available. Go check out one of their 3 locations. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver. Trustful just off 459. Your CBD store, as you know, where good health hits home. Arthritis, anxiety. If you have that or your pet struggling with either one of those, better focus throughout the course of the day, more energy throughout the course of the day, and curb your appetite with the Trim by SunMed on the shelves now at your CBD store where good health hits home. So did we come away with the definitive winner here? Greg's going with Andrew Luck. Damien, one quarterback, one game. Who's it going to be?
Cam Newton.
John, one college quarterback, one game. Who are you going to go with? This is your Super Sofa quarterback of the week.
Super Sofa quarterback game of the week.
Yeah, I think it's Cam.
It's always been Cam. It's going to be Cam again for me. One-man
Barner.
army.
Barner.
Yes, I am. Yeah, that's it. That's the reason.
But do you like Cam Newton, though?
It's a fair question.
Not likable, can't be on the list.
Can't be on the
Well,
list.
no, it's if you say things that aren't always positive, then allegedly you don't like said person.
Visor can't be thrown at him because his hair's too out much for it to fit. So
He would never
We're good.
make a mistake in practice.
No.
So,
No, not at all.
Ooh.
never.
Got him.
All right, so great quarterback conversation around college football. When we come back, there's some transfer quarterbacks that we need to discuss. Who has the best season of all of this year's transfer quarterbacks? There's a lot that could go into that other than just how talented that individual is. The schedule, the cast around him. We'll discuss some of the new fits and how they work out right after this on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.